Whoops, I did that wrong. Still like that countdown. I still like that countdown. Anyway, everybody, welcome to a Wednesday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. I'm sitting here with comedians known as Fig and Talent. And in case you guys don't know who they are, they've been in the comedy business for a very long time. They've been in comedy films, comedy specials, comedy TV shows, comedy commercials, anything related to comedy, they've been in. And now they are even in a comedy sports talk show, which is the one we're doing right now called Box Seats. How you guys doing today?
Yay! I'm doing good, man, because I'm on the box seats, Frank. You know what I mean? And I'm on the box seats, man. Come on.
Oh, wait a minute. You got a cup? Where's my cup, man?
Tell him it's in the mail.
I ain't getting no cup. How Frank get a cup and he further away from me, man?
Hold up, Fig. You don't have a cup?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
We're going to have to check with the mailman. I got to check with the post office.
You gotta be riding the project, Fig.
I ain't no damn project.
Let's get the show started, y'all. In case you didn't know, it's the show we call the Box Seats. And what I always do at the top of the show is I always give a COVID report. And then I jump into what's going on in the sports. And as you all know, there's always a COVID report because we are in the midst of COVID. So today, this morning, I found out that there's been a Los Angeles Rams player who tested positive, a LA Raiders player who tested positive, and of course the Wake Forest and Duke game got officially canceled. That was supposed to be scheduled for Saturday football game. That got officially canceled. Now, the crazy thing is about these college football games is now when they're canceling them, they're not even rescheduling them. So I don't know how the college playoff is. I just know I'd be pretty upset if I'm on a college football team and I got 5 wins and then I'm playing against somebody else and they got 2 wins and I'm playing in the college football playoff. I don't think that's even fair. But anyway, the draft is tonight. There's been a lot of big stories that's been jumping off the paper, and I've been getting swamped with alerts all day. But I think the biggest thing is James Harden. So, Talent, I'm going to bring this up to you. If you're the Rockets, right? The Rockets are right now that James Harden has come to them. He's been requesting the trade. I'm going to say it to you. If you're the Rockets, do you feel the pressure to have to trade James Harden? Because let's face it, he's under a 2-year contract with them. They don't have to trade him. They can sit there right now and say, we're going to hold you for 2 years. He'd just be a disgruntled player. What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, and sadly, Frank, how the game goes is I don't think any team is really willing to go 2 years with a disgruntled player of his, especially of a certain magnitude. I think if you got a player that is of a lesser magnitude, you can play the little tit for tat. Oh, you're going to teach me a lesson? I'm going to teach you a lesson and still have a productive season with your other players. When he is the go-to guy, when he is the quote-unquote franchise, I don't think anybody's willing to take that risk and just say we're just going to be bums or bum out for 2 years and pay a guap load of money. So I think if I'm the Rockets, it's like good riddance, man. I don't want anybody that don't want to be here.
Right. I
When we
understand.
signed this contract, you wanted to be here.
Right, I understand that. I get that. So, Fig, if your management and your ownership of Houston Rockets, right, and all of a sudden word has leaked out that he hasn't been happy because he's not concluded in the loop of what moves they're going to make and everything else, do you feel pressure to have to trade him, or are you going to agree with what Talon said?
First off, I'd like to tell both of you, I didn't get the memo where you both was going to be wearing black and showing your neck. Like who said we were going to show necks and wear black on the board?
We do look like an Oreo cookie because we both black.
But yo, man, it's because it's a players' league, it's kind of difficult to hold on to a superstar because the word gets around, and I think it's a black eye on your organization if you do something like that to a superstar, especially the way it looks in Houston is that they're in rebuilding mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's a good idea to hold on to a player of James Harden's magnitude and have him be disgruntled after he requested a trade. It just seems like a bad look, because how do you get other superstars to come to your team after you treated him, in a certain way?
Right.
I think he's earned the cachet to be able to say, I want to be traded without backlash.
He has, and I want to ask you this, Talent, because it kind of brings up my next question. Everybody seems to be pushing their chips to the middle to show Houston, hey, this is what we'll give you. This is what we'll give you. Again, like I said, Houston's not forced to trade him and everything else. But some trades, like especially when you mentioned the Nets, because the Nets have been, in the mix of a lot of trades, saying that Houston wants to make a trade and exploring trades with the Nets. Does that still change your thought process? Because if he goes to the Nets, what will the Nets give them in return? Kind of makes you sit there and say, you know what? Houston could be better off if they keep Russell Westbrook and get a lot of those younger players. You know what I mean? I mean, just speculation, but what's your thought process on that?
Well, that's very interesting you bring that up, because that's something that we all have to think about. If let's say they wasn't expecting this demand to be traded thing. So let's say in Houston's mind frame, let's say how we got here is they said to him, hey, we're going to make a move with Westbrook. And Harden goes, well, what are we going to do? It was like, well, don't worry about that. We got that. So Phil excluded. He's like, you know what? Y'all ain't going to let me help with I want out. So now I go back to my drawing board if I'm GM and go, you know what? If he wants out and he's demanding a trade, maybe I hold on to this piece. Maybe now I make it a Westbrook team and build pieces around Westbrook, pull that off the table because this guy's forcing me to send him over here. So let's keep in mind that may be a possibility because maybe they didn't see that coming.
I agree with that. Fig, if you're the GM, what do you do?
The thing is, first off, I try and work out a deal to move Harden. But here's the thing.
So you would try to move him?
I would. Harden, I would try to move because he requested to trade. It seems like they're in rebuilding mode. To me, if you're moving your two best players, last year they got rid of Capella. This year it looked like they want to give they moving Harden and Westbrook, or even if Westbrook leaves, Harden is pretty much there by himself. So
but hold on.
Fig,
hold on. The question is really though, think about if you're the GM and you move one of those two pieces and you get a lot back from New Jersey, you don't really necessarily have to move now Russell Westbrook now because you got a lot of good pieces. You can if you want to, the question to you is if you trade James Harden to the Nets, you get back a lot of players. Now you're the GM. You know what I mean? What do? You then renegotiate, try to keep Russell Westbrook and say, hey, bro, you the foundation piece. We building around you, or do you also trade him? What do you do?
No, man, I start over. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing: Westbrook is still in a point in his career where he's going to require a nice trade value. Like I'm going to get a lot back for Westbrook. I'm going to get a whole boatload of players for James Harden. That's a whole new team. You understand what I'm saying? I start off with a whole new younger team, and we might be better. Look, I trade Westbrook to Philly. Maybe I get back one of those guys, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, whatever, whoever they have over there, plus a couple of draft picks. And then I trade Harden to Brooklyn, but when I talk to the GMs in Brooklyn, I say, listen, I'm going to give you Harden, but the first player on that list that y'all need to start with is Kyrie Irving. I know you're not getting rid of Kevin Durant. I know that's not happening. But the first player that you're going to give me on the top of this list, you're going to start with Kyrie Irving, and then we'll go from there. Because right now, neither one of those teams, no team out there that I know right now, unless you're giving up your number one player, unless you're giving up Kevin Durant or LeBron James, I don't see there's another player on James Harden's level. So you got to it got to make sense for me. You got to give me something that's valuable.
And you just named the reason why I was going to come in and say, I don't think the deal happens between Houston and New Jersey. I just don't see it because New Jersey is not trying to get rid of those two pieces. They're trying to get three-piece segment, and they're trying to build from there. And, of course, Houston wants, if they're giving up something, they want a big-name player in response to that. You know what I mean? So I think they might wait to the middle of the season and wait till after the trade and see how that goes. What's up, Tom?
I beg to differ because I think we're all forgetting about that invisible player we always forget about. It's called cash.
Yeah, that's true.
Do not discount the invisible player called cash.
Right,
Johnny Cash is always a part of these deals. When people unload big players with big contracts, sometimes figures not necessarily, well, what I'm going to get for it as a person-wise. There's another person that's invisible called cash. So that could be a movement in play too.
Yeah, but Brooklyn wants to move. They want to make a move to win now. We saw how they did that with the Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett move. We saw how they did that with a couple of other moves trying to be Jason Kidd. I mean, they've always trying to win now. They don't think too far in the future. But I'm thinking with all that young talent they have right now, you add those two pieces and then you add that third piece. I think it says a statement to the brand.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. But to combat or play devil's advocate to Fig's side, when he's like, well, you know, we got to talk. I'm giving you Harden. You got to talk Kyrie. Not necessarily. Cash.
Yeah, or trade or another draft pick and cash.
Yeah, draft picks and cash. Cash.
Several.
But Johnny Cash talks, man.
No, because here's the thing. It like when I think if I'm stating this correctly, when there's a trade, if James Harden is worth just say 30 million. You got to give him equal value. It got to be an equal value on the trade.
No, I know what you're saying. I get you. I get it. But cash could be that equal value. Like think about this. Think about this. Harden turned down $50 million a year extension for 2 years.
And you know what?
Turned that down. They were going to have 50. So that's going to is saying one thing that maybe money for him personally is not a factor. You want to win right then.
Yeah. Money isn't the issue, obviously, with him turning down that money. Because I can't remember the last time a player turned down that much money, except for who's the guy who's the guy from the Knicks who choked somebody? Oh my God, his name escaped.
Latrell Sprewell.
Yeah, Latrell Sprewell, the last idiot I know who turned down so much money and ended up not getting a big lump salary anyway. But
let the record show it only took 13 minutes and 40 seconds for Frank to disrespect my team and Sprewell.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Sorry.
And,
but hey, I got some good news.
Got paid, but a lot of people don't know that.
I got some good news for you both. This is going to be good. And I specifically circled this so I can make sure I mention this on the show to give you all some big ups to New York. All right, you ready for this?
I am.
Okay. Charles Oakley has won the right to have a jury decision on the assault claim even from that game in 2017 because he's suing the New York Knicks about the excessive force. So now, as you know, if you don't have a jury, you know, obviously you're leaving it up to the judge. But because Charles Oakley now has won the right to have a jury trial, I think your Knicks ownership is in pretty steep trouble right now. But you know, since you all more New York Knicks fans and everything than I am, Talon, what's your thought when you hear that Charles Oakley now won the right to have a jury trial in this case?
Well, I think that's good for his side. That means pretty much the odds in his favor to win the case because he's a legend. People love him. And more importantly, you know, these kind of cases get done in public opinion. So I think that's in his favor to win. But I also there's a double win here. It's a win-win because I know how New York organizations get down. Do not be surprised. He gets the win. He gets the money. And he's working for the organization.
Bingo, bing, 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 bing. So, Fig, I think he's going to win on video because, on court, because the video shows there was excessive force. And I was sitting all the way up. I think I was in Burbank at the time, but I saw that way over there. You know what I mean? What's your thought process when you hear this, Fig?
I think, again, it's another black eye on the Knicks organization, the front office, for doing the things that they did. You got to blame that mainly on the Knicks owner again, which it seems to be the reason why a lot of players don't end up coming to New York. It's not the team. It's not the city. It really is the owner. And I mean, look, right after the Charles Oakley thing, there was a Spike Lee thing. I'm just like, come on, man. These guys, if not just in New York, they're icons. Spike Lee is an icon, you know what I mean? Especially as he's the #1 celebrity Knick fan. You don't do that to Spike Lee. Then you talk about Charles Oakley. He is beloved in the city because he represents what the city is. He came to work with his hard hat on every single night, and the city loves Charles Oakley. You know what I mean? So for that to go down, it's just, to me, it's just another black eye on the organization, the front office of the organization, and the owner specifically. And I don't like it. I want him to win, though, because I thought, like you said, Frank, what they did to him, it was way out of line. It was excessive force, and I want Oakley to win because I thought they did him dirty.
Oh, he's going to win. And a public apology is going to be a part of that sentence.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, now, let's keep the show rolling on because in the other NBA news since Monday, we've been talking about Drew Holiday for about a week and a half. We knew he was on the hot box and everything. I didn't see him coming to Milwaukee. I thought he was going to get traded to several other teams, but Milwaukee jumped up in there and they were able to land him with Bogdan
Bogdanovic.
There you go. And in exchange from Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, 3 future draft picks. So what does this say to you, talent, that they're saying to Giannis? Do you think now, since they made these moves, do you think Giannis is going to do an extension and stay in Milwaukee? Or do you think Giannis is not going to even care what they did and Giannis is going to, obviously get traded to some other team, probably Golden State, because that's where it looks like he's going, or Miami, if it doesn't work out?
I think he stays. I think that you don't make this kind of move without that conversation. That's just me. So I think he stays. I think he sees like the progress, because it is progress. I think progress is made in the trade. So if I'm Giannis, I see that the efforts being made. I can get the Supermax contract. I think he stayed. I think they did the right thing. You got to do something sooner than later to show that, hey, this is your city, man. We want you to win. We don't just want to win. We want you to win here. And we're going to move these pieces to make it happen.
Right. So, Fig, do you think this makes Milwaukee a better team, by losing Eric Bledsoe and adding Drew Holiday and Bogdan? Or do you think it honestly says, or do you think it makes them be like an equal transition, more like, it's an equal thing? Because you already know how Eric Bledsoe did in the playoffs. You know how George Hill did in the playoffs. Question is, do you think they're the same, or is it equal? Or better?
They get a little better, but it's not championship caliber better. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. There's nobody in order to win, the way the league is stacking up now, and I use that word specifically, stacking up, is Giannis is going to need a superstar, at least one, maybe even two, on his team in order for him to be able to win. I mean, God forbid, think about if James Harden ends up with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and then you got LeBron and Anthony Davis and whatever it is that they're able to get with the Lakers, then you got the Clippers, and it's just like every team, like the top echelon of teams are stacking up, and I don't see Milwaukee being able to beat those guys with the trades that they made. To me it's a little better, but it's not good enough to win. And I don't know what Giannis' mentality is about staying in Milwaukee, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold on to him unless he just does a Dame Lillard and just say, look, I want to win here. I'm not leaving.
Okay. So since we're talking about obviously moving pieces and everything else, we know that the NBA draft is tonight. There's been some names that are going up and down the board and everything else like that. And I'm going to ask you guys this before I jump back into the other NBA news. I'm going to ask you guys this. Who do you think is going to go number one, especially when you've been seeing, obviously, the stuff that's happening lately? You see the trades moving around. Teams are starting to take shape and looking a little bit different. And there'll be more trades up until tonight at 7:30. So do you think James Wiseman would be number one pick talent? You think LaMelo Ball? Or do you think Anthony Edwards? I'm going to go on record first. I'm going to start first. And I think James Wiseman, this kid who's 7'1", and he's already built muscular, I think that dude is going to be a future all-star. I think that dude, when he's going to get in the league, he's going to get bigger and bigger, and he's going to be like, what's that dude who plays for the Lakers? He's going to literally be another carbon copy of him. I mean, that's the way I see it. I can't see.
Well, you're not talking about Kareem.
No, the dude played for the Lakers recently, this year, came from Orlando.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard. I think he's going to be another Dwight Howard. I just think, except he's going to move better than Dwight Howard. He's going to definitely shoot better than Dwight Howard. And he's going to get probably even bigger than Dwight Howard was. But he's definitely all around. Like he's like a grasshopper. I mean, this dude's all over the court. I've looked at a lot of film over the last 48 hours. This dude is going to be a future beast. That's my pick, who I would hope to see go number one. Now, he won't, but that's who I think will be a future all-star. So that I say all that to say, talent. Who do you think is going to be number one? You think it's going to be James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, or who everybody's now picking, Anthony Edwards?
Well, I think it's going to be LaMelo Ball. I think that we live in a country where whoever owns the media and marketing gets the most pub and gets the most hype. He has the most hype. He's a name that's talked about this entire year and season more than any of these other guys. There's no diss on how good they may be. It's about that. It's about hype. Let's look at every draft we grew up on to this day. All these drafts were dictated by the marketing and the hype of the player. You know, it's like when Frank said on one of the shows, I didn't see that game. It wasn't in my market. Like back in the day, for real, but back in the day, if you didn't get to see certain colleges play or a certain dude play a lot of games, you didn't know. But that guy that was on, you know who always got hype? If you played for the usual suspects. If you came out of Indiana, you came out of Duke, you came out of North Carolina. So this LaMelo Ball, he's like that guy. He's the guy with no college and COVID season. He's the guy that's still getting marketing.
Okay.
You're an average person. So I think he's going to go to number one. The only way that doesn't happen, if some last minute trade thing happens where somebody trades off number one to somebody else, then somebody needs a different piece. But right now, both.
Okay, so Pick, I'm asking you the same question. You think James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, or Anthony Edwards goes number one in the pick? Now, you already know who's the top 2 or 3, so you already know what the teams need. So do you agree or disagree with what Talent said?
Well, no, because here's the thing. If the number one, if they want to go for a big splash and get a lot of media attention, then they go for LaMelo Ball. But this guy Edwards, the way they talking about him, they see him as being another Dwayne Wade.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he's getting a lot of press. They say this kid's like maybe 2.25, 230 right now, and he's ready to go right now. Like he's ready to make an impact. And they already got Big Cat over there. You know what I mean? So they don't need a big dude. It'd be like they'd have two centers, and they don't really need a center. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, I said I thought Golden State was going to come back this year with the players they have, and that all they need is a middle piece. This is the kid that I was talking about. I couldn't remember his name, but James Wiseman is the 7-foot dude that I thought looked a lot like David Robinson to me, a young David Robinson. And this kid here, I think if they don't grab him first, which I don't think they will because they don't need a center, and he ends up with Golden State, Lord have mercy. This kid is mobile. He's agile. He's got a little jump shot. He's 7 foot. He's athletic. He runs the floor. He's hungry. He's strong. I'm just like, my God. You put that guy with Draymond Green, Curry, Thompson, and Wiggins.
Yeah, that kid's gonna be dominant. That kid's gonna be very dominant. Yeah, that kid's gonna be very dominant in 2 years. So speaking of the draft, the Knicks have gone up in the draft from 27 to 23, and they've swapped the pick out with Utah. And word is they're also trying to make some more picks and a couple of players to go higher. I have no idea who they're targeting, who they're thinking about. It could be a splash just to make some news and noise for the New York market. But Talent, are you very happy with what you heard from 27 to 23? You heard about this?
Anything move up, it's always going to be a good thing with the Knicks. But again, I think where we are right now with what we did last year in the draft, we're not a draft team. Like, that's not going to be the major impact. We're still going to have to go shopping. We got to go shopping, and we got to put, like Fig said, I agree with putting 1 or 2 veterans with all these young cats we got and start making some noise. Because quiet as kept, it's not like we don't have the talent on the team right now. We just need to put it all together. These guys need to play together. We need solid coaching, which we got a new coach. So fingers crossed there. We just need solid coaching that can make these guys play with cohesiveness together. Word of the day, cohesiveness. Make these guys play together, and I think we can be competitive and slot up in that 7-8 seed in the East, man. I think we can.
Okay. Fake, what you think?
I like the way they're moving up. I don't know who they're looking at 23. I thought they was trying to do something with the 8 pick. Maybe they trying to package number 8 with 23 to move up a little higher. I think they trying from what I heard. I think they're looking at Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they say Halliburton is this guard, and he's ready. He's long. I think he's like maybe 6'7". He's long. He can pass. That might just be just right. You know what I mean? I think the Knicks are looking to select a point guard, because we really need like a strong point guard to make this team go, to whatever it's going to be. But I think that's who they're looking at. I like it. You know what I mean? It looks like they hungry. And I like what the front office looks like now. You know what I mean? The front office is better. They made some moves in the front office. And I kind of like the minds that the Knicks organization has running basketball operations now. So I think they're gonna make a decent move. I'm anxious I'm gonna be glued to the TV tonight to see what happens.
All right, so let's continue moving the show on. I'm gonna circle back later on in the show after Rodney Perry's segment to jump back into the NBA, but we gotta talk about the NFL before Rodney comes in, because Drew Brees, we saw what happened Sunday. We didn't know how bad hurt he was until Monday, actually since Tuesday. But Drew Brees right now has a collapsed lung, rib fractures, and he's definitely out at least 2 weeks. Okay, he's not officially put on the IR. But do you think New Orleans' season is basically now over, or do you think Jameis Winston can bring them to the house? What do you think, Talon?
I got faith in Jameis. I think Jameis is going to do work. We were talking about this a little bit a couple of days ago, where this we may be looking at another Bledsoe moment. Because again, it wasn't that this guy wasn't talented. Sometimes you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong pieces that you need to help you. And you look like, in that quarterback position, it's very easy to look like a bump. It's very easy. And people, the eyes from the outside that don't fully understand the game will automatically just put it on you. They won't look at a line. They won't see what kind of line you had. They won't look at, your receivers. They won't look. They just be like, yo, you're a bump. So I think now, where he sits now, they invested that money to protect the Drew Brees. So he's got a better situation, better component of players that this is his run right here. If he can't do it now, let's just say 4 weeks. If he can't make some numbers stir up and make it look good in his case in 4 weeks, I don't know if he's going to get another opportunity like this.
All right, what you think, Fig? You think Jameis Winston can come back and help save the franchise and continue on their winning ways, or do you think, like what Fig said, think what Talon said, do you think it's you better make it now or you're done?
I think Jameis Winston has a lot of talent. You know what I mean? I think he's a talented kid. What he did in Tampa Bay was awesome. He made a few mistakes, but here's the thing: Sean Payton is a much better coach than he had in Tampa Bay. The Saints are a much better team. And I think the fact that Jameis Winston had an opportunity to sit behind a Drew Brees, even for a short period of time, even for 8-9 games, in the film room, watching how he prepares for the game, I think may have done this young man a world of difference and a world of benefit. I think he's going to do well. I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed that he does well. He got a better team, stronger line. They got a running game. I don't think Sean Payton's going to put that much on him. And what they have, the teams that they have coming up, they're not that strong. Those are easy winnable games. The next 3 or 4 games are real winnable games for them. So I think he's going to be able to do very well.
Speaking of good teams and getting a good player, Kansas City Chiefs now have landed cornerback DeAndre Baker, and he added him to their practice squad. If you guys remember, you're watching the show, you remember I said Monday, this dude he played for the Giants. He got falsely accused by 4 or 5 people playing dice, and he was being extorted. Can't come to find out the charges were dropped on him Monday. Now the Kansas City Chiefs have picked him up today. So now he went from a New York Giants team that was headed nowhere to a team that's about to be possibly have a good chance of going to the Super Bowl and probably winning the whole thing. So even though it didn't look good for him at that moment, but I think things look really good for this dude right now. And him being added to the Chiefs makes the Chiefs defense even scarier. They're going to be in the top 10 easy for the best defense in the league. What you think, man?
Well, I'll tell you right now, boy, one thing I do know from a project kid growing up in the projects, man, they play a lot bigger and better dice games in Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? Yo, his income just tripled, B. Yo, that's a good move for him, man. I'm proud of him. He gonna go out there with 4, 5, 6, baby. Single. He's gonna get it. This. All jokes aside, this is an awesome move. What better can happen to you as a player than to go from a okay or sorry team to a big championship running team?
Mm-hmm.
Like by some crazy mishap like this. Like listen, man. Listen. 2 things gonna happen, man. He gonna have better dice games, and the extortion level gonna go up.
He's happy though. He got to be happy right now. What you think, Fig?
I'm thinking to stop talking about my team, Frank. We got 3 wins. You know what I mean? We the Giants. We ahead of the division.
Boom. No, but what you think?
No, but listen, man. I think it's good for the Chiefs because look, their defense. I didn't like their defense that much. I mean, they were okay, but I mean, you know, they had to come from behind and win a lot of games. So the fact that their defense is stronger gives them a better opportunity to repeat this year. I thought they were going to repeat anyway, but the fact that they got somebody in position where they were really weak and he's stronger makes them just a better team. Now it makes them better on both sides of the ball, which is a really scary thing to have them, you know. Like, Could you imagine the defense as good as the offense? Like, my God, that's scary.
Yeah,
but it makes him better, and it's good for him too because, you know, from the Giants to the Chiefs, my God, you win it.
Not to mention, you get playoff checks. You know what I mean? When you get to the playoffs, you get playoff checks, and the Giants were nowhere near getting no playoff checks.
Oh no,
so,
no.
Playoff checks. So you know you going to the playoffs, you get the playoff, and them bonuses is nothing nice.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the Eagles now. I guess the question now, I've been hearing a lot about the NFC East for the last couple of days and everything else. Now, I want to ask you this. If the Eagles do not make the playoff, should they fire the head coach, Doug Peterson, or what should they do? Or should they keep him and see what happens, you know, for one more year? Or do you think his head's on the chopping block?
I mean, when we look at the Eagles, is it just coaching? I don't think so. I think the Eagles, they made a decision quarterback-wise and a couple of player options that they've been paying the price this season and the one before. I wouldn't put it all on the coach. I think he's going to lose his job, but I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? I would let him go into the next season. To me, like with COVID, man, a lot of people need a pass. Mm-hmm. I think right now we can't do this game and judge it and hire and fire the way we normally would because of all these exceptions to the rule. But I think he loses his job, playoffs or no playoffs, because we know they're pretty much not going to get a Super Bowl this year. They look far from that. So if they don't get a Super Bowl, then what does it mean if you make the playoffs or not? For the Eagles, anyway.
I want to say this. I think it's not the coaching at all. I think COVID had a lot to do with it, and injuries had a lot to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think they should get rid of it. But you know what? Philly's been known to make some very rash moves. Fig, what you think?
Philly booed Santa Claus. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm like, man, Philly ain't playing. I don't think it's the coach's fault. Just like Talon said, they had a lot of injuries it's a COVID year. Lot of ups and downs and stuff like that with your roster. I mean, it's a Super Bowl winning coach. You know what I mean? They just won the Super Bowl. I mean, did he get that bad in 2 years? I don't think so. And Wentz was winning. You know, they had this guy. You know, he was going up. You know, and he was just getting better and better. They gave him a boatload of money.
Let me just say this. For the record, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz wasn't the quarterback. It was Nick Foles.
Yeah, but I mean, he got him there, and then he got injured. Nick Foles finished up there. What Nick Foles? He like finished the last 3-4 games, maybe.
Yeah, he did the whole playoff.
That was it.
He did the whole
playoff. But listen, I mean, we just saw Foles. You know what I mean? We saw what Foles did. This is the Foles that we know. They had a team that Foles didn't have to do very much, and throughout the whole season, Wentz was the one that got him there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of teams that believe had Wentz played the rest of the season, they was going to win anyway. That's probably why they paid him all that money. They saw a lot in him. So I wouldn't fire the coach. Long story short, I wouldn't fire the coach because, I mean, he just won. You saw what he could do when he has the pieces. Now you take the pieces away, and now all of a sudden the coach is garbage. That don't make sense.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking of agree or disagree, or whether we make sense or not, let's bring in Rodney Perry for his normal segment, which he calls I Disagree. And there you go already with his face.
Why you mad, son?
I got to get my mind right to deal with this. Can't be smiling. Stop smiling. Anyway, James Harden, bye. Good freaking bye, James Harden. Get out. You don't want to play here. But guess what? You ain't going to Brooklyn. You ain't going to Brooklyn. Ain't no way. What you got to do? You got to give up Kyrie Irving. Kyrie ain't going nowhere. You're not giving up. You're not giving up the big fella. Who you got to give up? The team is scrappy without him. They don't need him. They don't need him. He's not the big three for their big three. You know, James Harden, dude, I'm sorry, but you have to stay. You can't get off this ship. That's the thing about being the captain of the ship. When you're the captain, you're the main guy, you don't get to jump ship. Mm-hmm. You got to sit there, you got to go down. You got to go down with the ship. Sorry, James Harden. Your boy Westbrook can go. Westbrook he gonna get off the ship. Westbrook gonna get off him. Westbrook just left the ship with the band. He off. Westbrook, motherfucker winding up wine. Westbrook like shit. I got. Where y'all want to put this amp? I got it. Kyrie again is going nowhere. So who's number one? Who's number one? Who's number one pick? I gotta say, man, it looks like the Timberwolves need a guard more than they need a big man. Mm-hmm. So given that, Melo is the number one guard in the draft, so he probably got to go. He's got to go number one because they had that pick. But everybody we know go to the Timberwolves end up having a horrible career. So if I'm Melo, I'm trying to play sick. I got the COVID. Maybe he get lucky and end up somewhere else. They say he did a warm up with Golden State, but Golden State don't need no guards. Mm-hmm. So I mean, why you even waste your time going over there? Is Steph Curry gonna see you and want to be your friend? No, dog. Melo, tell your daddy to shut up. Wiseman probably number 2. Edwards would be number 3 to Charlotte. That's my thing. Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees got injured on the field and then went out of the stadium and got hit by a car. He got so many injuries, man. Like, what is this dude made of? Breadcrumbs? Like, when did Drew Brees is a perfect example of old men should be playing in the NFL, man. Dude, this dude almost 40 years old. He took a hit like one of us. He got hit and broke everything. He is Mr. Glass. So what have I been saying to y'all? What have I been telling y'all? Jameis Winston, he been waiting on this. Jameis Winston was up in that motherfucker with the voodoo dog shaking shit, and it finally took off. The guy had now I had this conversation with my buddy. He's like, Rodney, the dude threw picks because he throws picks. I believe the man has some seeing issues. He threw 121 touchdowns, 88 picks. If he just cuts that in half, he has a wonderful season. Fig, you said it. He's got a better line. He's got a better coach. He's got a better staff, and he's got a number 41, the running back that don't make no mistakes. Worst case scenario, dump it to the back and let him run 85 yards.
Hey, Rodney, did you just agree with me?
Yes. 2 days in a row, and I hate it. I hate it. I didn't want to say it. Yes. Damn it. Damn it, Fig. You got me again. Curses. Figment throwing strikes again. Who do the Eagles need to fire? Everybody. They need to fire Wentz. They need to fire the coach, the water boy. They need to fire the janitor. They need to fire him. They need to fire every single. They need to fire Rocky Balboa. They need to fire them steps at the library. They need to fire them steps. Fire them steps.
Oh, man.
Who do they need to fire? Everybody.
Oh, man. Rocky Balboa? Oh, my God.
They need to fire Santa Claus.
And listen, they booed him. They
definitely booed Santa. I mean, the long and the short of it, and just to keep from agreeing with y'all again, I'm not going to even talk about the Chiefs.
Okay. How you go with your report, Rodney Perry? All right, well, I got something else.
And just prove y'all getting better at your jobs. Good job.
I got something else to go make your face look all crunched up too. Word is now leaking out that Rondo has meetings and everything else set up with the LA Clippers, and then he might sign with the Clippers. You know, we'll see if he lands it. We've been talking about it. That's been my Pelican brief for the last week and a half. No surprise.
You know, that's my Pelican brief. I said Rondo was going to the Clippers.
Okay, well then you agreed with me. There you go. There you agree. So now, when you hear that news, what do you think?
I think it's wonderful. I think that he's lazy. He don't want to move far away. So you go to the next door. you go to the next door where you ain't got to change your house, your family, none of that stuff. But I'm changing franchises, and I'm gonna be the piece because I've seen these guys implode because they didn't have a piece like me. Mm-hmm. So I fit this puzzle perfectly, and I think that they're gonna be willing to pay me some guap to right the wrong of the ship. Okay. Good move. All
right, Fig, what do you think? Because the word is also, you know, if he goes to the Clippers, you know, the Clippers are making a trade. They're shopping Lou Williams. So Lou Williams probably go to Dallas. They'll definitely need a Rondo. Do you like this if you hear this?
Man, I like Lou Williams to Dallas. I like Rondo to the Clippers. I know the Clippers need a Rondo because he's definitely a leader on the floor and the floor general. The thing is that when you cheat on your girlfriend, you shouldn't cheat with her with a girl in the same building. That's the only problem. I'm like, yo, dude, you can't cheat on your girl with a chick that live on the 3rd floor and you on the 5th floor. I'm like, there's something wrong with this. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. But they need a Rondo. They need a leader. Rondo is a leader. And that's what they needed. He's a floor general. He's a leader. And when they get to the playoffs, his game elevates. And that's a sign of a great player. All great. Like, you know, anybody can be great during the season. But during the playoffs, when teams have to scheme for you, Rondo gets better. And that's a sign of a real star. He's a real star.
Thank you, Fig, for renewing my faith in you. The Clippers are still dysfunctional. Still don't work. Still don't work. I don't care who goes there. It's still, man, these damn Clippers don't work. You think you're gonna get a new Clipper blade and they're gonna work all of a sudden? No, it's the cord. The cord. Yeah, can't get right. Paul George about to jump off that ship. So it ain't gonna be the same team. And they're gonna end up giving us some other pieces to get somebody else in there to be mediocre again. The Clippers are the Clippers.
Okay. All right.
They don't work.
All right. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Talent. I'm gonna start. Here's my another question. Pelican brief question. Do you guys think that the Sixers are gonna start the season with both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid on the roster, or do you think they're gonna trade? Because the Sixers are blowing the phones up today, right now, as we speak, trying to make some additions and subtractions. But the question is you think Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons will be on the roster, Talent?
I don't think so. The only way that both of them stay on the same roster to start next season is if Doc is trying to challenge himself in a different way. Mm-hmm. If Doc Rivers is saying, everybody's saying these two can't play together, they're horrible, they should have been better. If I want to come in here and prove how good a coach I am, I could turn these two around, which I don't see. So in my heart of mind, if I had to put money on it, somebody's out of it. Somebody's out of it. For $5 or more, somebody's out of it.
Okay.
So I think we go into the season with one of them there. Most likely, it'll be Simmons.
Oh, okay. All right. Fig, what you think?
You know what? I think one of them are going to leave for sure. I agree with that. They're going to move one of them. Here's my only thing is I love Simmons. I love, everything about him except the fact that he can't shoot. This is a shooting league. And the fact that you can't teach 7 feet. You can teach a lot of things. You can teach ball handling, defense, everything. You can't teach 7 feet. And that's what Joel Embiid is. If Doc could pour a little heart, he can see the wizard. I think Doc is a wizard. You pour a little heart in Joel Embiid, put a little a Kevin Garnett in Joel Embiid, the Sixers will be unbeatable. Okay. If Joel Embiid gets that Kevin Garnett mentality in him, they're going to be absolutely unbeatable.
Okay. All right. Rodney, what do you think?
Here goes. Okay, first of all, you're not going to get rid of either one of them. I'm going to tell you why. Nobody wants Ben Simmons. Nobody wants him. So he's a tough giveaway. He's a tough, and you ain't gonna get equal value back for him, so you're going to probably end up keeping him. And and Embiid is going to give you the most value, but he's your best guy. Why do you get rid of your best guy? They're not going to do that. I think it's gonna be both of those guys will stay. They need another piece. They need like a James Harden. James Harden could end up there and make a real splash. We're talking about a Pelican beef. James Harden could end up on that Sixer team with a Doc Rivers and make a run, a real legitimate run. Other than that, I say both of those guys, to answer your question, will be there, and it just don't make sense to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Embiid. I think you're giving him too much credit. I think you're judging him on what he could be as opposed to what he actually is. I think
he's not the best player.
He's a famous comedian with bad writers. He's Kevin Hart.
Wow. It's an analogy.
You're not gonna talk about my friend, Tally.
He's my friend too.
Analogy. It's an analogy.
I'm talking about his writers. Those are my friends, and they did it.
They're my friends too. But I just watched.
They wrote all this he did by himself.
Did you watch this special? Did you watch this special that's on right now?
No, I didn't watch it yet.
Wow. Have you watched? Then hit me back. You call me.
The brand new one. The brand new one.
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but I'm not gonna even get into it.
Take it from me. Take it from me.
I'll tell you offline. I'll tell you offline. I'm not gonna say what I know on the air, but I'll tell you offline.
All right, we gonna let's hurry up and end the show right now.
You can't be a reporter, Frank. You just got to be a guy.
I'm just being a guy. I'm not being a reporter. I'm not reporting nothing.
Frank, Pelican briefed me out of career.
No. Last thing I heard, the last question I'm gonna ask for the show is the Bulls are trying to get Kemba Walker from the Celtics. The Bulls are offering up quite a bit, but the Celtics seem to be right now having interest trying to climb up in obviously in the trade. I think the Celtics are trying to get this James Wiseman kid because they really need a big. They really need a huge. But my question for all three of you all: do you think the Celtics will trade Kemba Walker and Gordon Hayward, or do you think they're going to keep both and try to work some stuff out? What you think?
They better not. Let me tell you something. They better not move Kemba Walker so soon. The Boston Celtics you're going to be the equivalent to what James Harden did with players going in and out of Houston, turning into a revolving door. You guys come a long way to get back to a very good place, a very competitive place in this league. And to move those major people. Now, Hayward, he's movable because he's never been the same since the injury. But a bona fide point guard, a strong scoring floor general like a Kemba Walker, if you do that again, dude, that would be Isaiah. That would be Kyrie. Then it would be Kemba. It would be the craziest team in the league.
Yeah.
Actually, you'd even go back further than that because remember when Rick Pitino traded away, what's the guy who used to play for the Pistons, the starting Chauncey Billups? You know what I mean? Because they had Chauncey Billups. They traded him away. So
but that was you had a nice gap of what do you call it?
I can go down the line, but you had
a nice gap of uncertainty. But since you've been back to this place, because this place we could equate this place back to the Garnett era when they put the team together. So now you're back to this place where you argumentatively could have easily a couple of games you've been in a championship. So you're gonna turn around in these little couple of holiday months before we start a new season and get rid of Kemba Walker. That would be 3 back-to-back star point guards.
Okay, I can't disagree. Vic, what you think?
I'm thinking, first off, I don't think Boston is going to be able to move up that far because I really believe the Golden State take Wiseman number 2. I don't think they can move up to number 2. But here's the thing. I wouldn't get rid of Kemba. Maybe you move Hayward, but I wouldn't move Kemba. And really what you guys need, you got rid of your centers. You know what I mean? You got rid of your dogs, your strong. You got rid of Kelly Olynyk. He was scrappy on defense. You got rid of Baines. Baines was scrappy on defense. And a big, who could fight and throw out some leather. I think the Celtics, man, they need a center. You know what I mean? And there's a couple of the Lakers got rid of 2 really decent players for what the Celtics need. They got rid of Dwight Howard and they got rid of McGee. That's really all the Celtics need. Y'all got all the shooters. Y'all got you got Marcus Smart. You got enough. You got enough of those guys. You got Kemba. You need a center.
Fig, the Celtics couldn't go up to number 2. You know what? I'm gonna tell you how they could do it. They could trade Gordon Hayward right now, Robert Williams, and those 3 draft picks. They will offer them to Golden State, and I'm pretty sure Golden State would say, "Yeah, I'll take that for the number 2 draft pick." I'm pretty sure because they got 3 draft picks. They got Gordon Hayward right now, who they're about to do a sign and trade with till tomorrow. And they have 3 draft picks that they could, and teams.
3 draft picks this year?
This year. They have 3 draft picks, right?
One question. Which player do the Celtics have that make Golden State go right back to the chip right now?
I just told you. If you add Gordon Hayward on Golden State right now, they're scary. They're scary.
Yeah, they're scary now, but they need a big. Both of those teams need a big.
I'm not saying they don't, but Gordon Hayward coming off the bench, with the Golden State starting 5, they would have the best bench players role come best starting 5. I
like Gordon Hayward off the bench.
Yeah, that's how they would have to play him. But Rodney, what you think?
Okay, this is what I'm mad about.
Which part?
We found a way to weasel down this Celtic road again. Every time it's bad enough out the first half of the show, I got to listen to Giants and New York Knicks conversations. Doug a court case up to have the Knicks talked about. Okay? Sick of it, Frank. Sick of these backdoor Celtic conversations. Look.
I'm just trying to tell you, Gordon Hayward's on the move, bro. It's a fact.
Gordon Hayward is never going to be the same.
Oh, I agree.
He's never going to be the same. He's done. If you stupid enough to pick Gordon Hayward up, that's your fault when you lose. Okay, and okay, they bet not, in the words of talent, they bet not let go of Kemba Walker. But they could, because they got Jason Tatum, who plays like a point forward type position. And so now it might make a little sense, but the guy is too good. And he's a locker room guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need Kemba Walker. Like, that team falls apart without that guy, man. I say this, the Lakers will be better off getting Ricky Bell.
You mean the Celtics?
Whatever.
Ricky Bell. He always throw in a new edition joke. I ain't gonna never not hear a new edition joke.
It never gets old.
I know, but
I
why you never pick Bobby?
Musical act.
Why you never pick Bobby, Rodney?
Because Bobby gonna bring any team down. I don't want to see him go down.
Yo, that's
Ronnie DeVoe is the tallest one too. So
there you go. That's the show. That's the show. Can you believe it? Can you tell everybody out there how they can follow you?
Hey, follow your boy on Twitter at It's Just Comedy. Talent the Comedian is my handle on IG. And if you're on Facebook, try King Talent House. That's how you find your boy.
All right, Fig.
You can find your boy Comedian Fig on all social media platforms at Comedian Fig. I'm gonna be hanging out with these dudes. I'm gonna be hanging out with talent. So if you're on his page, you can find me. I'm gonna be on Rodney Perry's he got his own network, you understand? So I'll be hanging out with Rodney Perry. He got his own page and everything like that. That boy be doing things, hanging out with Rodney Perry too.
Okay. Rodney Perry. Hi.
hey man, today I'll be on the show with No, all jokes aside, RodneyPerry.com is the website. Rodney Perry Live. All the social media. You can catch me a little later today with Earthquake on the Quake Show. Quake's House, Sirius XM.
All right, y'all. That's the show. This is a show called The Box Seat. I'm Frank. That's Fig. That's Talent. Rodney. My man Stack will be back next week. Back. You are watching the show over here. Until then, tell a friend, tell a friend, download the app, tell them to follow the 35. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Take it easy.